All right. Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of the Egghead podcast. This episode will be in the spirit of the 15-year anniversary of Sinnoh. This episode will be a Diamond and Pearl focused episode. So we'll be talking about the anime, the games that are coming out, and also the new news about Journey's episode 77, Super-Electromagnetic Hyper Class Battle, which airs on the 20th. So, Diamond and Pearl was the first series I ever watched back when I was a kid. Like it was when Diamond and Pearl was airing and the games were releasing. Like that's when I got into the Pokemon franchise. I was like 7, and I watched Battle Frontier and Galactic Battles and uh, the Sinnoh League on Saturday mornings uh, as cartoons on Cartoon Network.
Oh God, remember those days?
Dude, Ash versus Paul, dude. We at school,
My
man.
God.
Everyone was watching that. Like even kids who didn't like Pokemon were watching that battle. It was insane.
Wish I had that experience.
Yeah, it was
It's awesome.
nuts. Although Pokemon was pretty popular at my school because honestly,
hmm
Yu-Gi-Oh was more popular mainly because me and a friend of mine kind of popularized Yu-Gi-Oh and the
Nice.
Beyblades. But
Ooh, a trendsetter.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to stuff like that, yes. Uh, we had like a big Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. It was like there was I think it was 32 people. Like at recess, of course. We would have each day at recess would be one round of Yu-Gi-Oh tournament of the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament.
Right.
And of course, everyone was like cheating and like making up rules and stuff, but it was fun. My friend
Yeah,
ended
I
up
can imagine.
Yeah, my friend ended up winning with a Gate Guardian.
Oh my.
He was
That's impressive.
yeah, he was pretty good. And
That said, if I
yeah,
can interject 1 second, I think we are basically
you're cutting out a bit, Vero.
like a lot of the ones present in today's podcast in the end.
You cut out a bit. Can you repeat that?
Sorry, I
It's
apologize.
okay.
Not okay. I was saying that we are talking of a series that's very near and dear to a lot of fans, like a lot of our
Yes,
guests in today's.
yeah, around our age group, like for a lot of people, the last series they watched was Diamond and Pearl. That was the
Yeah,
last. A lot
And
of
that,
it's
people
an
yeah.
who
end.
don't, a lot of people who don't follow the anime or just even Pokemon in general, like the last time they played the games or watched the show was Diamond and Pearl. And I mean, honestly, it was a good place to end off. It was a
Oh
extremely,
yeah.
extremely well-rounded series. And
Yeah, it's basically the perfected version of the classic era of the show. It's basically a farewell to a sort of that consistency because it's after that point that we can say, I don't want to be too negative and say every series after that has no value. Also, because of course I am an X and Y fan, but it has a specific charm
mhm,
that we will probably explore now.
yes,
Yeah, in my opinion, Diamond Pearl League showed how much through original series and to Diamond Pearl showed how much Ash has become in both strength and mentally. Like in the original series, Ash was not the very strong, I guess, but in Diamond and at the end of the Diamond and Pearl, we can safely say Ash was one of the strongest people in the planet.
in the
There was
planet,
definitely
huh?
Yeah,
there was definitely a strong sense of
like
progression
this guy
from the original
beat
all the way to Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
guy beat two legendaries back to back with a normal team. Like not even his theoretical strongest team.
yeah, true. That is true. He definitely had. I feel like that was that season kind of cemented Ash as a skilled trainer. I'd agree. And
and before
that's what
and
that's
sorry,
no,
and
okay.
at the last series before that, Battle Frontier, Ash beat a single legendary, right? Only
Yeah,
Regice.
he also beat Articuno, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's the first
it-
time he beat legendaries, but Tobias is to date the only time Ash has defeated two legendaries in the same battle.
Mhm.
That's the
like
only time any
Even
character
if
has done that.
I think everyone agrees that Tobias was created basically just as a gigantic roadblock, but it has its
absolutely.
charm. It's still badly written, but it's bad writing that has
Yeah,
some pros.
yeah,
The main focus of the Sinnoh League was Ash versus Paul. I don't think it never really mattered whether Ash was going to win or not, as
mhm.
long as he fought Paul and won.
Yeah, and that's what really made Diamond Pearl unique to me, is that
Yeah.
it really made Ash question, and this is also like Dawn had the same thing, where it made Ash question the style of what, like, was he training his Pokemon properly? Like, was he as a trainer doing the right thing? It was really interesting, and honestly, I don't really feel like they've revisited something on that deep of a level with regards to his training. Most of the time, most of the time, the the way that Ash overcomes a roadblock, like if he loses to someone or whatever, is to keep training and come up with a new strategy. He keeps doing what he's been doing. But with Paul, he had to sort of, you know, like do a full point like review of what he did, of his training style, which I think is really interesting.
It is
Yeah,
too.
that's what was so great about Paul, because he was a trainer on at least equal footing with Ash, but he had a completely different training style, and it worked so well for him that Ash consistently had problems dealing with it in his way.
Yeah.
I think
It's
something worth noting.
one thing that's
Yeah.
particular.
I think. Sorry.
Do you want to go first, or
One
I
sec.
Okay. All right. Batzel first, then Viroro, and yeah.
Oh yeah, very true.
Okay, sorry. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
yeah,
Sorry, it was going a bit weird. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we do. We hear you.
Yes.
Yeah, we do.
So, what I was saying is that it's important that there is the recurring theme about different approaches and styles that we can see all throughout the Diamond and Pearl series, starting from the fact that it's the first series to try a sort of dual protagonist setup. It's not as explicit in its marketing about it as Go was, but there were still traces, like the fact that the openings specifically included Dawn in the opening narration about the adventures of Ash and Dawn. Poor Brock was unfortunately.
Yeah, he was kind of put on the wayside.
Yeah, he had some good moments. Let's be clear. He had a good ideas, but he could have been a bit more focused on, even if Krogank is a king, of course. No
like
one
you
will forget
mentioned-
Krogank.
Like you mentioned, like Vera mentioned in like the first episode, only like the last 3 minutes were on Ash. The rest was just purely Dawn, which I really appreciated.
yeah,
Yeah, you
that
can
was
see
fresh.
there were a lot of good parallels between the first episode and Ash. It's not a one-on-one, but you can see a similar drive. She's Dawn is basically the contest version of Ash's driven of the to achieve her dream. Basically, thinks she's the bee's knees
Mm-hmm.
and can live up to her boss, even if of course she needs some humbling to get there.
Yeah.
But
The,
of
the
course,
first. Oh, sorry.
no, I was saying, of course, Dawn is an immensely popular Pokegirl for a reason, after all.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you go next.
The league. I have another opinion about the Sinnoh League. It also shows that Ash Ash and Paul were in a completely different league compared to the
The other
other
competitors.
competitors
Yeah.
in the competition.
Yeah, like
Like Tobias beat everyone, even the finalists, with just his Darkrai. And Darkrai, the moments Darkrai was showed to beat them, Darkrai didn't look very tired.
Yeah, when he
And
beat that Magmortar, he didn't look that tired.
yeah, and Ash beats two of them back to back. And Paul is like the Ash, but are different in terms of power.
Yeah.
It cemented Ash as a league of his own with Paul, in
Hmm.
my opinion.
Yeah,
if
I
I could add
agree.
on to that,
Yeah, sure, Stumpy.
first of all, to add on to that, I remember Barry himself saying like, "Oh, our whole group is in a totally different league," because they implied like he was sweeping his opponents with no problem. Then Paul beat him 3-0, and then Ash beat that guy. Like they're so far above the brain. It's kind of ridiculous.
Uh, about Barry,
Mhm.
he is strong too, but
Mhm.
not as strong as Ash and Paul, in my
No.
opinion.
He's
But
going to fine you 10 million for that.
but he really gave Paul around for his money, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that was a good battle.
Like
Yeah, it is a bit.
Paul had to go all out, even if it was 3-0. Paul Pokemon were tired.
Yeah, and he himself said it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think
liked.
this brings us to one bit of a constant that we are discussing a bit, but we aren't quite addressing. That is Diamond and Pearl's battle, which I feel it's the one of the best approaches to battling that the series has ever seen. Mostly because it's not as flashy as something we will see in future seasons, but they are very tactical. They take into account a lot. There is a lot of switching. They are very well written. And that makes them still engaging to this day, even when they get a bit slideshowy sometimes.
Hmm.
Yes, there's a consistent emphasis on strategy in the battles in Diamond and Pearl, and that's something I really enjoyed about it.
Yeah,
It's so
the
easy to rewatch because of
Conway
that.
battle was good too because of that. Because of he used Ash's uh, unorthodox strategies against himself.
I do think, though, that we should try to go a bit in order because I do agree that the league is a very much one of the highest point of Diamond and Pearl. But I
yeah.
think
We should
we
talk
should
about
Yeah,
it from
explain
start to finish.
why it's so important, not
yeah.
to start
Sorry
already
about that.
saying it's so cool.
Yeah.
It is a discussion after all.
Hmm.
I
So
can be sometimes one my tracked. Sorry.
yeah, it's
No,
okay.
no, 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 no. It's not an issue. We all love Diamond and Pearl after all. It
Yeah,
just let's say why it's cool.
yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
let's get there.
So
I do have an example of that,
sure, go ahead.
and that is the counter shield, of course. You know that we shouldn't fail to mention. That I'm pretty sure it originated in this series, right? And that became like a big staple of the series. All throughout it, they kept using it, which was really good to see.
I do
That
think
this
Counter Shield is very much a symbol of what Diamond and Pearl is about because it's not a move. It's not really a move. It's a strategy that's consistent in its usage. It begins as a move that Dawn was creating that then Ash adopted and made his own, and then it spread to other characters, even sometimes being referenced in later series, even after Ash officially started not using it, or at least not calling it Counter Shield. There is a small neat detail in Sun and Moon where in the Cerulean Gym episode, Brock basically uses Counter Shield and basically says it's an idea he got from a trainer he traveled with. That we of course know it's Ash. It says of the impact of such a move.
Definitely.
I think they also foreshadowed the counter shield fairly early on in the series when I think it was around the Oraberg arc where Ash learned from Dawn how to spin in order to avoid attacks. I think that was almost like the first version of it, which steadily got improved upon as the series continued.
That's true. And that's another thing I like is the fact that in Diamond and Pearl, like strategies and techniques like move between trainers and they adapt them and bear them for themselves. It's like not something you see very often.
Yeah,
And
it's
when
also what
Paul
oh, sorry.
used counter shield, Ash tried to counter the counter shield.
Yeah.
And then
Anyway,
Paul countered counter of the counter shield.
So I have a question for you guys. What do you guys think about Ash's gym battles? Which ones do you think are like the best?
pretty hard question because I think most of every gym battle in Diamond and Pearl has value. I do think one of my personal favorites, since we were talking Counter Shield, was Fantina's because it really highlights what I was talking about. Specifically because ultimately the reason Counter Shield was developed was to try a way to overcome a strategy that Ash knew he would eventually have to tackle. That is Fantina's hypnosis. So, of course, you'd expect this perfected strategy to be the linchpin of strategy. And then once you start to use it, it's not the deciding move of the battle because Fantina already realized how to counter the counter shield. This is really a great battle because it makes Fantina look extremely skilled and competent, and most importantly, you can feel the sense that they need to put work to get to reach a win. You don't feel that Ash won because he created the random plot power up, and so he got the win earned.
Yeah.
That's something I appreciated. That kind of focus on the effort needed to gain a win, which is something Diamond and Pearl does very well.
Mm-hmm. All right. So anyone else?
Let me think.
It might not be considered objectively the best or the most impressive, but a personal favorite of mine was the battle with Byron. Not just because Byron himself was such a hilarious character, but because it was the debut gym battle of Gliscor, and he put in a
Yes.
great showing.
He did. I also liked how he used the rain to temper fire type attacks, rain dance.
Mm-hmm.
But another one that's kind of an odd pick. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I'd like to mention Asher's Gardenia because I think there was like a lot of like tragedies like with the weather, Ash blinding what was it, Cherubai to get an attack in with Staravia.
Yeah.
Like it's not the most flashy gym battle, but I found it like consistently fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And outside of that, we also had the Cagnia stuff with James.
That's
and
true.
Oh, right. Yes.
It's been a while.
I really
Speaking
liked.
of,
Sorry.
no, you're
Go
good.
ahead, Basil.
I really liked that Glasgow's training with the airman really paid off at the league.
Yeah.
Using a recoil move, then escaping the recoil.
Yeah, with Giga Impact. And Paul didn't even see that coming, you could tell.
I'll say though, since we are mentioning him, Gliscor is amazing. It's one of my favorite Ashmon in the Diamond and Pearl series and deserves a lot of love because it's
Gliscor
one.
is best boy or girl.
Yeah,
whichever.
Best
Yeah.
bat is the best bat.
Best
Mhm.
bet. There we go.
Bat scorpion thing.
Yes,
He
It's
wa- he
cool.
was
The Scorpion.
he was a very good balance of like being entertaining, full of character, and still like having a really good arc.
All right.
Yeah, it has a
absolutely.
good arc. It has a
I'm
good
gonna go
story.
for the basic guy opinion of, okay, well, I really liked the Volkner's gym battle mainly because it explored Volkner as a character as well, in addition,
That's
of
true.
course, to the Infernape stuff with Blaze. It explored Volkner's character, which I thought was really interesting.
Infernape was absolutely one of the climaxes, one of the linchpin of a lot of development in Diamond and Pearl.
Hmm.
And in fact, I feel we should try to talk a bit of, say, linchpin, because we are running a lot towards the high points, and I don't blame anyone for doing that because Diamond and Pearl has a lot of high points.
Hmm.
But I'd like to speak a bit of Chimchar.
All
After
right.
all, it's
Yeah,
the
the Chimchar episode, at Heart Home City, I believe, was really, really good. I really liked it.
You know the one
Yeah,
where Ash obtained him, or
Yeah, the one where he obtained them, and also the tag battle as well was really cool.
yeah,
It was interesting to see because I
oh
never ever expected like something like that to happen. Like
no,
Rifle and Ash like doing a tag team battle. That was a really interesting idea.
it wasn't the first time that Ash ended up obtaining an abused fire type starter, and it wouldn't be the last.
Yeah.
But because he'd already had so much screen time with Paul, and that relationship had already been built up, it felt so much more meaningful when we saw Paul abandon Chimchar and Ash take him in soon after that.
yeah.
Hmm.
I also really like how incompatible they were when battling together. Like they could have just had them work it out, but no, they were terrible teammates.
yeah, that's something very interesting because
Like,
it's really something that shows oh it's real tailor made the characters and they knew exactly what they were doing. And in fact, it's interesting that it's not about trying to make Ash and Paul work better together as a team, which is what every other shonen series will try to use. Of course, I know that the shonen argument is a bit of a hot topic in the community, but I use it simply because it's structured like a shonen
Yeah.
manga tournament arc. So, of course, it's the
Series.
term that sticks. That's why. Just wanted to clarify. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's good because it's not really about trying to make them closer to each other, but to have this bridging moment between Ash and Paul about Chimchar, which was really just this Pokemon that was there in Ash in Paul's team at the time, but at the same time, 1 second. Sorry, and there was someone at the door.
Oh, that's okay.
no worries.
Okay, sorry. Well, I was saying though that it was a Pokemon that was around, but at the same time, it didn't really do much yet. Aside of being the strangely happy-go-lucky Pokemon in Paul's team, which of course didn't really, which seemed weird for how Paul was characterized. And then in the Hertom tag tournament arc, we start to dig deeper in why Paul has such a Pokemon? Why does he keep him around when at the same time it feels like it's a Pokemon that you would have released by now? And of course, we discover why. We discover the fact that he has this power inside him that Paul wants to harness, but of course, he's trying his best during using his own methods to bring it up, which aren't working at all. Which, as we know, it's basically one of the main points of the Diamond and Pearl series, since what Chinchar needed was the approach of someone like Ash, which was able to actually employ said power to the fullest without actually wanting to use it.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I like. The fact that he didn't actually want to master blades. He wanted to become strong without relying on it, and as a result, that made Infernate become strong enough to manage to use it.
Yeah, I can understand that because it's the way Paul explained how you want to reach it. It's traumatic. Ash is not going to want to reach into that. So,
Paul is definitely not gentle or understanding enough to properly train a Pokemon with PTSD.
yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
not. At
Yeah,
least not in
basically the
canon.
problem is that as we can see, Paul is the sink and swim sort of mentor. He basically say you need to face your fears, or basically you're not gonna survive it. While instead, Ash is the guy that understands what he went through and wants him to grow stronger without putting undue stress over him.
Yeah, and
It's
we did.
That-
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone want to talk?
no, I just
No,
wanted to say
no,
that
it was a bit off topic.
Shadow Rowlet. Rowlet, do you want to?
it was just a small comment about like it was the over pressure. Like Ash does like to stress Pokemon, but like up to a point, right? It's
Right.
not
Uh,
like
the Pokemon the Pokemon that wants to stress themselves too,
yes.
He
like
enables them in what they want to do.
Charizard and Gible would rather different stance of training. Like I don't think Charizard wants to like training.
What'd you
Can
say?
you say that again?
I don't think Charizard likes like training. He wants as hard as he can.
Yeah, he doesn't like training light. He's all in on it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's
the
it's
same can be said if I want to bring up Infernape's journey's return. The same could be said for Infernape, who seems to have been constantly, according to Gary, he's been training pretty much constantly since Diamond and Pearl
Yeah.
at the Oaks Lab, and he's even been battling Ash's other fire types like Charizard.
I mean, it definitely helps if that was Infernape School because Ash has so many other powerful Pokemon.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very convenient place for Infernape to train, but obviously it wasn't really enough for him because he went out to go fight a
Yeah.
Moltres. But yeah.
I mean, hey, the opportunity was there. He just took it.
True.
It's not every day a Moltres arrives in your backyard.
Yeah,
Especially when
true.
Ash isn't there.
Yeah.
Dominator probably was the series that Ash become my favorite character.
Probably, yeah. I would say so. I would say that's when he became like an elite trainer. Yeah, I'd agree.
I like Ash from the start watching the series, but at the Dominator, I remember Dominator better than every other series.
Really.
Yeah, that same something when I don't remember that one exists for some reason.
Mm.
Hmm?
I see.
Honestly, one is totally completely blank on me.
And if we're going back all the way to the start of the series, there were a lot of good things that they did, specifically with Team Rocket. Like in the second episode, we already see them at James. What is it like? Summer
Oh, his
place.
summer home, yeah.
Yeah, that was the second episode. So we definitely see a lot of things set up quickly, and they could afford that because we already know the setup, right? For 3 generations before we knew, right? He's gonna go to the league. He's gonna do his best over there, but what they did at the 3 episodes was very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they definitely set up everything very quickly so that we could just get on with the adventure.
And
Extremely
Paul as well.
efficient.
Yeah, and I want to ask. That kind of brings me up with like series pacing. So, what do you guys think about? So, Diamond and Pearl was the last 4 year. I think I don't remember if Black and White was a 4 year series.
No, it was 3.
It was three. I'm pretty sure. So, like,
No,
Yeah.
Diamond and
so
Pearl
Diamond and
was
Pearl was the last 4 year series
Mm-hmm.
for since then. Like, we haven't had one since then. We've had Black and White, XY, Sun and Moon, all 3 year series. Now, what do you guys think are the merits and also like the pros and the cons of having a 4-year series compared to a
I
I'll
think
3-year one?
say you bring up a very interesting point because I think that the pacing of the Diamond and Pearl series is one of the most talked about point, both in positive and in negative, especially negative because usually one of the criticism you see is that sometimes there are notable gaps among major events, which a lot of people like to point out the fact that there is an entire year between the seventh and eighth gym battle. But
right.
I do think this is important to put into context because there it's a very dense series in terms of major events. There is always something somewhat major happening at any point. So sometimes I do agree that the final year is a bit less dense for a variety of reasons that we can discuss. But I do think that for the first 3 years, the pacing is pretty tight. There is a lot that's happening. They're setting up the evil teams. We have a lot of rivals on both Ash and Dawn side. There's a lot of even some pretty fun episodes. There is always a lot of time going on, but I do feel that there is a bit smaller a small amount of issues that pile up during the final year. That is one is an infamous habit of this series. You know, the fact that once a Pokemon fully evolves, they start to appear around recurringly as much as they used to, which means that in the later minor episodes, we rarely see a lot of the team together, which makes them a bit more boring to a degree, which makes them feel a bit more of a chore if they aren't important episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it, for example, Chimchar spends a lot of time as a Chimchar before it becomes Monferno, and then Raider becomes Infernape only a few eps later, which is
Yeah.
important. Yeah, basically, it makes the episode feel a bit more like they are a bit of a distraction. Maybe it's the wrong word, but basically the fact that by the final episode you start to have much less plot line to juggle, so it feels more okay. When are we getting close to the closure? I
Right.
think cutting just a bit of the final year could have helped, but I'd say for the most part it's not absolutely a terrible pacing. It's a pretty even-handed series considering the time it was given. So I don't think there is a lot that we are left wanting, aside from some issues about handling of some characters. But we can talk of that later. Of course, sorry if I talked a lot.
Oh,
I
that's
hope
fine.
you have a lot other interesting
Yeah.
thoughts
So,
to share.
anyone else? What do you guys have?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it
Well,
gave the series a lot of room to breathe. Like Diamond Pro juggles a lot of different plot lines, characters, like training arcs, rivalries, etc. And that the 4 years gave that time to exist. Like we can see that in the infamous year between the seventh and eighth gyms. Like yeah, there were no gym battles between that, but there were a lot of things still happening. Like there was the whole the 6-on-6 Brandon, like the Hunter J and Galactic, etc. Like it wasn't empty.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I never particularly minded that when I watched it growing up.
Yeah, same. I mean, back then I was too. Honestly, when I started noticing like the sort of filler. I don't know what to call it. Filler hell, I guess, was in black and
Yeah,
white in Rival Destinies. I felt like I was a little older by then. I was like, it was a couple years older, so I was like 10 or 11 or something. And I was like, oh my God, this series is going on forever. Like
I'd say,
I thought the series would always be Rival Destinies at some point.
wait till you
I'd
get to
say the
Delcora.
I'd say the one issue of Best Wishes in this sense was really the fact that the up until Castilla the pacing is fairly fast. Then after the Rocket versus Plasma, which we sadly never got to see, it becomes much slower, very slow, and that makes the Nimbasa stretch feel like a drag, especially
Yeah, it
because
was the
the
Nimbasa
first,
stretch. Yeah,
yeah,
between Castilla and Nimbasa, dude. Oh my god.
yeah, the first. It's not that the fact the series try to bait and switch you because they say they arrived in Nimbasa and then they specify it's Nimbasa town, not Nimbasa city.
Oh my god.
I don't
Yeah,
remember that.
I definitely have to rewatch Black and White at some point because you guys are confusing me to hell.
it's
Yeah.
our job to confuse you,
Essentially, there's
Captain.
a
It's
stretch
our job.
between Castilla City and Nimbasa City that's pretty long, and I think also the dub stopped airing new episodes for a short while. Uh, so like it felt I think they might have replayed that set of filler episodes twice. So it was during like the summer into the fall. I remember it
Oh,
was
I see.
it was a long filler stretch of literally just like there is an episode of I think there was a Cottony episode. There's also a Behem episode, and those episodes I feel like I saw those episodes like 3 times. Like it
Oh,
was
I think I vaguely remember those,
yeah
but
yeah
Mayhem is one of the best episodes of the Meow Mole arc, though.
yeah
That's
true.
I will stand
Yeah.
by it. It's amazing. It's Inception before Inception. Nolan stole his ideas from this that single minor episode.
Hmm.
Okay.
So anyway, uh my personal thoughts on like a 4-year series is yeah, it needs to have like having a main plot arc like a gym challenge can't really be supported. Like having just a main plot arc can't really be supported by a 4-year series. Like it feels like a gym challenge.
Right.
It'll feel too dragged out. So yeah, it needs to have a lot of different side plots. Like
Mm-hmm.
I do think what's important in this sense is that there is an A plot, B plot structure with two major goals that we can see that are similar but different from each other, which is why I feel series that try to follow the AG format, one wife Ash as the gym trainer and the Pocky Girl with a goal akin to coordinators or coordinators themselves is one of the better suited for the Fourier series format because otherwise
Totally.
you risk to have a lot of episodes that feel like they don't contribute much because I feel one thing to address is that Diamond and Pearl has a strong vision, as we said, because it's heavily about these different styles, how they combine, how different approach to training and battle end up staying against each other. There is a lot of meat to chew. We do
Mhm.
see this even in the minor character because really another pro is that Diamond and Pearl is one of the strongest supporting cast in any Pokemon series. There is a lot of very likable people that you really want to see again, even
Mhm.
among the rivals, especially. I like that you can say a lot about them, even as simple individuals. You can get small, very small. Arcs and changes in perception here and there. Like you have Nando that after his initial episode, you decide, okay, I will do both gyms and contests, and I will see how it goes. Because that guy was awesome, by the way. But one
Yeah.
of my favorite in this sense was Zoe, that starts as someone that really looks down on the idea of someone taking both contests or gyms, thinking that they are basically outfussing both careers by trying to do too much. And then
Yeah.
seeing, especially Nando, start to soften over distance, which is really good.
And then they had a great battle all the way at the end.
yeah.
And if I could get back on the subject of different styles, while that applies to Ash and Paul's philosophies, that also very much applied to Dawn because she struggled with like showing off the Pokemon versus the flashy moves. She went through that whole little rut in her contests, and that was
Hmm.
something she had to correct. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel in this sense, it's interesting to talk of how Dawn's contests are like, because you can see that after Advanced Generation, the show really understood what they wanted to do with contests and started to really get more creative about the various performances. If you go back and watch Advanced, sometimes they sort of didn't know how to make contests work because, for example, either the contests were fairly basic, sparkle, without much stuff, or may mostly one like it was a battle by knockout. While instead, in Diamond and Pearl, there is a lot of focus on creativity and especially on out. Ranking the opponent in terms of points, basically winning without a definite knocked out winner, which is pretty good. And I think this particularly shows in terms of how Down was handled. You do feel like she tries her best, and when she wins, she felt like she earned it, especially with her major insecurity arc early to the mid season, which really brings us to one of a major companion return that's worth discussing about. That is Maze, because even up to today, it's considered one of the best returns of the series.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Yeah,
think it's interesting to bring it up because we are currently in a series that does a lot of returns, so it'll be interesting to discuss what it does so much well that it's still well regarded almost a decade later.
Yeah, I really
that's
liked
one.
May's return. I feel like it's kind of a shame with regards to her voice actor situation that we might,
Yeah,
unless they recast her, we might never get May again. She like because that was the last time she's even been referenced in the anime. I'm pretty sure, other than maybe that black and white ending.
yeah.
Um, yeah, she hasn't returned to the anime in like 13 years or so. And yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but yeah, I really like that. I really like that return a lot. I agree.
Yeah.
The
I
wall,
think it started. Sorry.
the Walls Cup was really a smart idea with regards to that.
Hmm. I think it served both ends of what a cameo should do. It served the new character in helping Dawn overcome her slump, and it helped uplift May and show how she's changed since she left.
Hmm.
I do
Yeah.
feel one thing that also helps is that you feel like May's return as a purpose. She's not returning just for fan service. She's returning also to explicitly help out Dawn's own growth, like Stampy just said.
Hmm.
Right.
Which really it's what makes it special. It's something that assures how May has become better since she left the main team and managed to give a nice climax to Dawn and the whole arc that led to it. It doesn't feel like fanservice. It's an essential part of Diamond and Pearl story, and that's what makes it one of the best returns of the series so far, if not the best.
Vote for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did really. I like her return. I don't know. I really liked. If you want to talk about returns from the current series, I really liked Gary's return a lot.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I think.
Yeah, honestly, I think it's probably the best singular episode in the series so far. Although this this Volkner episode, I mean, this Volkner episode's looking
Looking exciting.
Yeah.
pretty hype. But yeah, I really
Botnas
like the
episode is an interesting one to discuss since it's one of the or eventual talking points for this
yeah.
podcast.
We'll get to the Volkner episode later,
Yeah.
but
I like the Gary return too.
yeah.
It was meaningful.
He felt like I like they didn't fill the episode with it, but like his friendship with Ash really feels evolved from what it used to be, and I appreciate that.
Hmm.
And I love the Gary and Ghost interactions.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's the
Gary
Gary's
become the old Gary, the OS Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
was a fun reference.
I don't think that Dawn's return is too far away as
Yeah, Dawn's return is really good. It's a bit controversial for some people because she and Ash did not interact that much. I think that's something that I think is like it's a valid point, and I think it's also something the Gary episode did well was because Gary and Ash didn't interact that much on screen, but it was implied because of the way they set the episode up. It was implied that as they were walking to Moltres, that Ash and Gary talked a lot.
And because for the very little we did get showed their
Yeah,
dynamic well,
true. The
and I
Dawn
was satisfied
episode,
with that.
I think that's like one of the main drawbacks of the Dawn
Yeah.
episode is that it didn't really showcase her dynamic with Ash that
Ash
well.
might as well have not even been there. I
Yeah,
feel
I mean,
I
like he
it
don't
didn't
was
really.
feel that.
it was an extremely good episode from a Chloe and Dawn aspect, of course,
Yeah,
and overall it was a very good episode. But yeah, I don't think it was as good as the Gary one, but it was good still. I really enjoyed it.
I don't think that
actually followed it
the
well. So I'm glad.
Don and
Followed
Chloe
it.
relationship, as we said, is one of the best aspects of the Darkrai chapter that we got to see recently. But I do agree that the not really. I will admit I'm not particularly upset about the fact we didn't see a lot of Ash and Dawn interaction, but it is true that. The return it's pretty good about Chloe, but it does miss the mark for me in something that the May return managed to do well. That is, we don't see a lot of how Donna's grown since she left,
She
which is a
feels
bit.
stationary.
Yes, she's basically crystallized exactly like she was. Basically, you can take her how she was in the Best Wishes return and then in the Journey's Return, and she's mostly the same character between both,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a bit of an issue, I'd say, which is a bit compounded on the fact that, as we said, she didn't seem to interact a lot with Ash, so we basically see her mostly interacting with Chloe. So, of course, maybe it's something the show plans to develop later, given they admitted we may see another scene arc that may lead to another down appearance, but of course, we will need to see if it happens or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. So what do you guys think? Going back to our whole 4-year series, 3-year series things. So, what do you guys think Journeys? Because it's clear that there aren't going to be any Gen 9 games next year.
Right.
Based on Nintendo's release schedule, and also, I mean, I've heard some rumors, but mainly because of Nintendo's release schedule. Pokemon is
Mhm.
normally released when Nintendo doesn't have any other major titles to fill up their winter release. And
Mhm.
so there is nothing, and there's nothing like next year is going to have a bunch of releases. It's gonna have Breath of the Wild 2, Xenoblade 3, etc. So so it's obvious that Pokemon's not going to release next year. They don't have a Gen 9 game ready. It's going to probably release in 2023. So,
Right.
based on logic of the past series, how they're mainly based on game releases of when new series air,
Mhm.
Journeys might end up being a 4-year series or maybe a 3.5-year series. However, it seems that the plot is sort of structured, at least for the main plots, for a 3-year series. So, what do you guys think about this?
That's a good. I've heard that discussed before too. I doubt it's gonna happen now, but I remember a friend suggesting that Ash should fight Leon, lose, and then try the tournament again. But that's I feel like things have been dragging on long enough that would be difficult.
Nah,
I
yeah,
do
I
think.
agree.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead. Say what you want to say.
Okay. I was saying. Basically, my point is that I would prefer if Journeys remained a possible 3-year series rather than become a 4-year one. Mostly because I do think that the pacing we got so far, even if of course that's a controversial since pacing in Journeys is one of its most criticized aspects, we are already basically halfway into Ash's current goal. So, of course, if we now start to stretch the whole ultra class through 2 entire years, we risk to make his goal even worse handled than it has been so far in terms of actual focus time spent on it, which is not something I think anyone wants.
So, in my opinion, a way that they could do it well is if, I mean, I don't know if you guys play a lot of like multiplayer games. Like I play a lot of like multiplayer ranked games like League of Legends and stuff. And there is an idea of getting, it's something called getting hard stuck. So essentially he reaches a point in which he kind of like wins as often as he loses. And
Right.
so they can, for example, have the ultra class, because it's not like there's only going to be 8 battles, right? It's not like there's 8 duels. It's
Yeah.
not like there's 8 battles. Like they can give him 20 ultra class battles or hyper class battles, whatever you want to call them. They give him 20
Right.
of them against like Elite Four members and stuff, and of course people are going to be excited to watch them. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if really it's a bad idea. It might feel kind of stagnated if he's
Right.
like winning or and losing often, which is what I'm kind of worried about, is that it might feel stagnated. But
I don't
also,
mind it. Oh, sorry.
also the mix between that and Project Mu, which is something completely new, completely unique to the anime, that is actually
Mm-hmm.
very interesting to me. That it's completely unique. Like there's nothing really like it in the games.
I would say, though, if I can mention, there is something that could be done to improve things, but it will require a bit more work than perhaps this series can do now that we are likely halfway in. That is focused a bit more on the world tournament aspect of the World Coronation series. You know, get us a stronger and more recurring cast of rivals for Ash. Basically, something akin to Diamond and Pearl, as we mentioned.
Something they could also do is have
Also, on their
um
journeys, basically allow us to see a recurring cast that Ash can interact with, and then we can also see their matches, their struggles, and basically, in this sense, give us something to look forward to beyond Ash. So we can
yeah.
see important episodes without feeling like
Yeah.
Ash's own goal is being sidelined.
Yeah, so like for example, they could have an episode about like just a high like a arbitrary example like Iris versus Bea or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that would still feel hyped to watch even if it's not Ash himself battling, which I really do want to see. I do want to see stuff like that, but I don't know if they're going to do it. But I do
yeah,
want to see
because I
stuff
do
like that.
agree. I do think that, as it is, the World Coronation series can feel a bit like a bit of a reskinned Gym Quest because we mostly focus on what Ash is doing and we
Yeah.
rarely really focus on other trainers. The last time we saw a World Coronation series battle that didn't involve Ash was Leon against Ryan. So of course we could use a bit more of diversion that still feeds into our main plot. It'd make it more unique, and of course give us more interesting moments and matchups. Because it's always interesting to see a battle that doesn't involve Ash as the other party. To see how the show give us battles between multiple different trainers.
Yeah. I think it could use a splash of what Blacklight did with the tournaments, like rivals fighting each other. Plus that like think of the Battle Chateau with Grant and God, what's her name? The bug leader?
Viola.
Viola.
Villa.
Yeah. And that battle
Hmm?
showcased like not only Viola but Grant, which gave Ash like an obstacle, something to overcome, a strategy to work around. Like I think that could benefit the series a lot.
Yeah, the closest thing we've had to a roadblock or even like a rivalry has been Ash and Bay. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it would really strengthen the world coronation if there was more of that. If we took some time to slow down and actually focus on training or forming another rivalry, for example.
Yeah.
Training is particularly an important point because I feel in the current series the only real training episode we got was Wickstrom's. Aside from that, I don't recall many episodes that are completely focused on training. You can
Yeah,
argue Dragonite's capture episode, but that was just an aside in an entire episode. I do feel it's
yeah,
something that's a bit missed because, as we mentioned before, it's something we see a lot in Diamond and Pearl and makes a lot of these wins earned.
exactly. And in general, like Ash's Pokemon, we hardly even see them outside of the occasional battle. So if there was training being done, it would really help give the entire team more screen time.
It's
Absolutely. They
it's
could use it
also
too.
something that I feel it's a result of the idea that Journeys is focusing more on episodic adventures, but I feel at the same time they can focus on a training moment and make it still enjoyable, which is what Wickstrom's episode achieved by the whole challenge setup they had. They should try to redo something like that for other characters,
Yeah,
basically.
speaking of the Wickstrom episode, I really did like that. I really do like the sort of idea that aside from Cinderace, Scizor seems to be Go's like go-to battler,
Yeah.
which is neat. That even if like he has a sort of I don't even think he has. I think he probably has like 40 Pokemon with him in his in that bag of his. But even if he doesn't have like a team in the sense that most trainers do, he does
Hmm.
have a few Pokemon which I think would be designated battles, which is really like yeah, what would his team be? It would be like Cinderace, Scizor, Flygon probably.
Yeah.
Eternatus.
Oh my god. No,
This
that
one.
Overkill,
just just
huh?
they
just turn him
And
into
Arceus.
that
just
that
turn him into the
Eternatus
next
got
Tobias.
locked away underground, I'm pretty sure. But
That still bothers me.
yeah.
One day, Go will use his
For
Eternatus to
sure.
destroy anyone who dares to criticize him.
Yeah.
So don't talk badly of Go, please.
Yes.
Do you
He'll see a
guys think
giant hand. God.
that steel type Elite form Kalos, the one I trained with, I don't remember his name. Do you think he is in the hyper class?
Wickstrom?
Like,
Maybe.
like
Possible.
Surfetch versus Edge Slash?
Yeah, that's actually a very good idea. Yeah, he probably, if he is competing in the World Championship Series, he probably is in the Master
Uh,
Class. Yeah, and
I'd
like you
say
said,
I
maybe
mean not
not
the Master, the Hyper. I
Masterclass.
meant the
like
Hyper. I meant the Hyper.
you
Sorry.
said that Ash might be fighting Elite Force, which would help close the gap from being a strong trainer to battling with the strongest trainer,
Yeah,
Right.
true.
Leon.
Right.
Like there's need like he is fighting. He will be fighting with Leon,
Yeah, he
champion
definitely
of
will.
champions. He
Yeah.
needs to have a bridge.
He
Yeah,
does. You're right.
There needs to be a bridge, and LS Force and other LS trainers are a perfect fit for them. And
true.
what better trainer than one that already have been shown and have been connections have already been possible fight set up.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good idea. I was thinking Flynn. I mean, I think he's gonna probably fight multiple Elite Four members,
Yeah,
but I was thinking Flint would be the sort of number one Elite Four member from the battle. But yeah, Wickstrom's actually a really good fit for that. I didn't even really think about it.
Lance also could be a
Lance will be in the
the
Master
later one.
Class. Lance will be in the
Yeah,
Master Class.
master
We
class
know
ones
that Lance
fight.
seems to still be in the Masterclass, going from
Uh,
the silhouettes we saw.
last one of the last fights. I mean,
Yeah,
because it could be a symbol that symbol from where Ash has
hmm
begun from Kanto.
yeah,
Set on to become set on to be win the Indigo League and probably be the champion, but he failed. But now he has a chance.
this brings an interesting point about which involves Diamond and Pearl as well, because that was the first series that, well, not the first series, but the one that did it extensively, and that was returning Ash's old Pokemon. And my question about that was if it can be done in Journeys. What do you guys think about that?
It's
It
I do
Well,
absolutely
it's
think
should.
that's
technically it.
It's
Oh,
a world championship. He
yeah.
absolutely should.
Yeah, I mean,
he should
I mean, okay,
return
giving a
that.
little bit of a spoiler to the Vulcan session. He's already bringing back his Z ring. I mean, he might as well. And he's
Yeah,
already, and I think that's what they're setting up for with him already like commanding Infernape in battle. Like
right.
Yeah,
that was, of course,
yeah,
it's like,
that
of
was a
course
show foreshadowing.
it's like BDSP like marketing. Of course, it's the whole Sinnoh marketing, why Infernape specifically, but it's not because of Infernape specifically. The fact that he commanded in old Pokemon to begin with, and also
Right.
in the official poster, we do see what seems to be like Ash's Charizard flying a baby
Huh,
little Charmander around. We've gotten merch for this Charmander stuff, but that's aside from that.
I
It
didn't
does
see that.
seem
Huh.
that Ash's old Pokemon are getting an arc of their own, which
Uh,
I
Sure
do
is
hope
think
so.
that
it's
which is interesting.
I do think
hype.
that
Yeah,
the question about if Ash is going to use reserves or not is a bit interesting because I do think that there could be a place for them, but at the same time, it risks to come at the expense of his current
Yeah,
team
his
that's
current team
been.
already does
Yeah,
have
it's
screen
not.
time issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it hasn't been treated well in basically the first half. Starting to sideline them for returns will have a nice crew pleasing effect for all the fans, but it had a bit be an issue for Journeys as a standalone
Yeah.
story because basically I feel it risks to. It's tricky to balance out. It's not impossible, but I think that with how the first year and a half went, it's a bit in a tricky situation to attempt to do it well. Basically, I do think it can be done, but at the moment, I can't really say it will be done well if it's attempted.
Hmm.
Of course, maybe the hyperclass handling might be better than I give it credit for. Maybe it will allow us to have this balance, but at the moment, I prefer to remain cautious, so to speak.
I
There,
see.
there's
I
also
agree. That's a
there's
fair
also
point.
there's also the point that if done poorly, um, bringing back Ash's old Pokemon could just be nothing more than a cheap way to generate hype. Like I think we've already seen that a little bit in
Right.
some of the returns. Like I mean, Iris was a great return, but the battle itself was handled pretty poorly, I think. And so the whole hype around her return ended up being just the sort of the pre-battle interaction between her and Ash.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that returns like Volkner, for example, couldn't be done well, but so far it seems to be pretty superficial, in my opinion, and they could easily do. Um, they could easily handle a potential Ash's reserves returning arc fairly poorly.
yeah.
Possible. I just
Unfortunately, that's a possibility.
yeah. There's just something weird about like shooting for number one in the world and like you don't use like any of the Pokemon that I've gotten you to this point.
I
Not
mean,
to
yeah,
mention beating Leon with a
that is
new
a fair
team
point.
like that. I feel like that's like that just feels very strange for a newly caught team to like do that when the others couldn't. I don't know. I
I
feel
mean,
I
I mean
mean,
a
that's a
balance
fair
is good.
point, but
at that point when you're fighting Leon, if he's using this newly caught team, it isn't really newly caught anymore. Like at that
I guess
point,
that's
he's
true.
been fighting like literal champions, like gym leaders,
Right.
uniform members. So at that point, I would say that yeah, his team isn't really
Relatively new.
considered newly caught. But
I do
yeah,
Fair
think
point.
that
I do
I
agree
do
though that
think
he
that's a bit.
should.
They
Yeah.
are relatively new count
Yeah,
I
compared
Right.
do
to the
true,
think
others.
that
true.
I do think that whoever Stampy basically outlined one of the major issues that the Journeys team is facing. Basically, the fact that either the fact we rarely see them actually training basically makes them feel still a bit newly found. Basically, since we don't see a lot of what they can do, we can't really quite calling them champion battle level worthy
Exactly.
opponent.
We
Basically,
don't know how they Sorry,
Like,
we just don't know how they compare. Sorry to interrupt.
no, that's all right.
But
Like
no,
Draco.
don't worry.
Oh.
Like for example, we can see it with Dracovish, which really is a likable Pokemon. I like Dracovish, but really, I don't think it was handled well to have him defeat Iris Dragonite, which we know scales to us Charizard among other Pokemon to losing 2 moves. It makes him seem suddenly so powerful
Yeah,
without
I mean
the requisite
he's gonna
build
Ice
up.
Fang Ash's Charizard too, dude. You better watch out.
Like, he
Uno,
hadn't had any
Uno, la
battles
la la.
before
He's
then.
messing around.
Oh no, la la
Djokovic,
la.
in my opinion, is a Niche fighter. Like, if he doesn't bite, he probably can't
You cut
damage
out.
his opponent well. I got that from his fight. That fight.
You're
Like,
saying he's like
the
dependent on bite?
only way I can justify him beating Dragonite is because he's insanely powerful in biting.
Oh god.
Everything else, not.
yeah, his only strength is just his jaw muscles, basically.
Like,
Yeah, that's
uh,
that's a
That'd be a
bit the
problem for
problem
Ash.
though in the end, which really dovetails in what we were praising about Diamond and Pearl earlier. It's not really interesting to see Ash win just by brute force alone. We want to see him use Ash's craziness, as Go helpfully called
yeah,
it.
craziness is good.
I agree.
It makes it makes it interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was one of the problems with these battles, these single episode battles, especially these 2v2s, is that yeah, they like the Iris episode was mainly like one move one shots or two move one shots.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the issue with it. And I was gonna talk about this with the Volkner episode as well. Do you guys just want to move over to that now since we're talking about journeys? Let's just
yeah,
kind of
Why
I
discuss the
not?
do.
Volkner
Sure.
episode.
I do have a
So
lot I want to say about Volkners, but
yeah,
first to start you.
yeah. So the Volkner episode, it does like a 3v3 is like, yes, we've been waiting for this for so long, finally. But of course, it does concern me that it'd be like the Iris episode, but worse, which, judging by the screenshots, doesn't seem to be the case.
It looks
But
Yeah.
promising, I'll give it that.
yeah, like judging by the screenshots that have been posted, I have some of them on the screen for the recording. I do have some of the screenshots, like Luxray and Ash using the Z move and Lucario, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I do worry that yeah, the 3v3 might end up being rushed. Now, it's of course it's not impossible to not have a rush 3v3. Like
Show's done it.
yeah, shows like in XY there was Ash versus Sawyer. Before the eighth gym battle, um there was also like Ash versus Ramos gym battle. So I think it's important that it can be done, but most of the time this is done with setup prior to the
Yeah.
episode. Normally there's like setup, like for example the Ramos battle was like setup, but
I
had
do
setup
think
before.
that if I can weigh in, I do first of all think that moving on to free versus free is a wonderful idea because it's really something that we needed because not only it allows us to see a lot more Pokemon of Ash in one singular battle, but it also allows us to see more clever plays, more different rounds matchups. Like for example, we can have victories, defeats, switching in and out. We can have more strategy basically, which is really good that to see. But I do think that Volkner not being this massively important character for us, basically one trainer that had a few significant episodes, but isn't really these very close friends with Ash, can help us because it means we can have simply a bit of interaction, just a bit, and then move on straight to the fighting without needing
True.
to outline.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not
That's a
an
good
old
point.
cast member that needs to be reminded to us. Basically,
Yeah.
they can go straight to battling, which is
Yeah.
good. But I do feel, in this sense, I do have some worries about what's because I will say we all know that this battle is really marketed as basically champion of the Alola League, Ash Ketchum against the strongest gym leader of the Sinnoh region, and this is something that obviously a lot of fans were excited about because a lot of people care about the title. I will never try to pretend otherwise. It is also interesting to see that he's bringing back his Zeering. And I feel, in this sense, I do have a bit of a worry, however. That is, I will admit that Sun and Moon is not a series I'm particularly invested in, but it's not about the fact that we're getting to see the Zeering bet, and more the fact that I don't think they really hinted that Volkner as an ace in the hold to match, say, the Z move. So I'm a bit afraid they were gonna make Ash 2 invincible in this battle, if it makes sense. That basically having the Z move will make his victory feel like it's punching down on his opponent, which I really don't want to see. I do want to see Ash being cool, very cool, and using creative strategies to win. So I don't want the series to run the risk to make Volkner feel like it's jobbing just to make Ash
Yeah.
look all the better,
Regarding
especially because
the okay, continue.
I do have, sorry, I had just a small
Oh,
addendum because
continue.
it's another thing is the fact that Volkner is an opponent Ash already triumphed against before. So of course, in this case, Ash doesn't have to prove something to Volkner, so to speak. So
Mhm.
that's my fear. Basically, I do think that using free against free is a wonderful idea, and of course, I also feel that choosing Pikachu and of course Lucario and Gengar is an extremely good idea because both really needed a major battle. But I'm a bit afraid that they may make Ash win without as much struggle.
Yeah,
We'll see if
true.
it's true or not. This is just my prior thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe I will
So,
be
If
surprised.
oh, continue. All right, go.
yeah, if I could just give my own 2 cents about this, I do also like the idea that they're going for a 3 versus 3 in this battle, which is something that has not been done in this series as far as I'm aware.
Nah, it hasn't.
It
Yeah, no, the
it gives
latest 3 against 3 was Ash against Gladion, so yeah,
it
not yet
it
in
gives
earnest.
it gives a lot more room for potential strategizing, which I think this series is also sorely lacking in. And the fact that Ash has a Z move is bringing back his Z ring doesn't really bother me that much because you could find a way to throw that into the 3 versus 3 strategy instead of just firing off a Z move and one shotting someone.
Right.
As long as they don't make it the magical transforming Pikachu Z he had in Sun and
It
Moon.
is. It is that one.
I have a
It
bad
is.
news for
It's
you, Captain.
confirmed.
It's the Pikachu.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
we also
confirmed
Okay.
to
see
be
now.
that one. It's confirmed to
Oh,
be that one.
Jesus Christ.
But it's
Okay.
permanent now. It's not like it's randomly going to change into it, so at least that
Yeah,
problem's gone.
it
Okay.
is the actual is the Pikachu Z. Yeah, however you pronounce
Maybe
it.
All right.
I'm probably very wrong, but maybe just maybe they might address why it happens. Very maybe.
I
That
doubt
is
it.
gonna
I
be
highly doubt
no.
it.
That's going to be talked about. I was gonna talk about that after. So the plots for episode 76 and 77 are connected. This was actually leaked before we actually learned about any of this. Not the actual contents of why they were connected, but it was leaked by this like known leaker that the plots are connected. Like the plots of the two episodes are connected. So
Right.
and that Ash and Volkner aren't randomly matched up. So what I'm assuming happens in episode 76, which is an episode, an Alola episode about Z moves, is that Ash either like shows a Z move maybe it's the Pikachu EMZ, maybe it's another one, and also a Z ring, and also gets matched up with Volkner in the same episode and decides to use his Z ring, like because of some reason.
Right.
Okay.
So that's like. Now I don't know if it would get explained why he has the Pikachu. I don't know how to pronounce it. Pikachu
I,
I
I
do
EMZ.
really
think
hope I
it's
hope they
important to say.
do. I really hope they do.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to say that the fact that the Pikachu became permanent is a small detail you can see after the Ash against Kukui's battle, but they never explained it fully outside from the talk of their feelings, and well, we know. I do think it's something that will stay as it is now, mostly because I don't think they can find the time to give us an entire lore explanation while still having a satisfying battle.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
think
I
we'll
mean,
just have to run with it. It's not something I admit I'm very happy with because I had major issues about the handling of the Pikachu, but at the same time, we'll see how it will go. Do
I
have,
can.
however, a bit of a something I wanted to add. Just sorry if I am monopolizing a bit the
It's okay.
conversation. I
Just
will.
continue.
I am a bit logoric whenever I need to speak a lot.
Okay.
Anyway, what I wanted to say is I do feel it's weird to already show that he will use his zeroing because it feels like it's giving away a major detail. So I wonder if they're just doing it to fool us, like they will show it not having as much effect on Volkner as a
No,
way to
you know
hype
what he's
up.
gonna do? No,
Oh,
Volker's
what
gonna do?
Volkner?
He's
Yeah.
gonna switch an Electivire and motor drive it. That's what he's gonna do. Anyway,
I wouldn't.
Ooh,
do that.
that would actually be
That
pretty
um,
will
cool.
awesome. That will be
I'd be for
I
awesome.
it.
would,
Like
I would
uh,
actually like it.
I
I
think
admit
I think
because
the
it
Z
will.
move won't affect the battle. Like you said.
I would say, I would
Yeah.
say. Can I
wait,
just?
wait, Vero, wait.
Sorry, sorry.
The zinc may look like it will affect, but Wagner's thing is electric. Like you said, Mood, he will probably find a way.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say, yeah.
considering that we know Electivire is battling Pikachu, I get the feeling he's gonna go. I think Ash is gonna try to Z move the Electivire. Oh my god,
Hope he doesn't do that.
that would be
I will.
hilarious.
It would make him look so bad.
I can't,
I'll
I
say.
can't,
I'll say
I
that.
can't imagine Pikachu's and Ash's face when the strongest move they do is did nothing.
Yeah, that would be funny. That would be all right. Anyway, so some other people have
Anime emote.
So I wanted to say basically that I do think it had been interesting if they're basically hyping up the Z move just to show that Volkner is above last season tricks, so to speak. But at the same time, I don't see it coming across well because even if the Pikachu is pretty invincible, it is a bit iconic to Sun and Moon series fan. I don't want to imagine what the reaction will be. I would
I mean,
consider it interesting as a narrative choice, but as I say, it depends on how the battle goes. So sorry
I
if
mean,
I monopolize it a lot.
yeah, it's just. I mean, as long as it's permanent now and it's not just going to magically flip flop between the two Z crystals, that was my biggest issue with the Pikachu Z. And honestly, I don't even mind if we don't get an explanation for it because, frankly, I doubt it's going to happen because it isn't. I don't see it being a very important detail to bring up in Journeys.
I think they might have an explanation for it in the Alola episode. They might keyword might.
Okay.
They'll explain Z moves in depth during that episode for sure as an introduction to new viewers, and also his Z ring. But I don't know if
Sure.
they'll talk about the actual Z crystal. I don't know, but they'll talk
We
about the
already
Z
saw
ring stuff.
Possibility. There's a possibility.
Yeah, there's a
But
possibility.
yeah, I
And
mean,
if there's a possibility, it's
but yeah, just my biggest fear was that they'd introduce a Z. They'd have Ash do a Z move just for the sake of doing a Z move. But from this discussion, I think that doesn't sound as likely as I was fearing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think there might be a good reason for it.
We did already see a C move once in Journeys, just to remember.
Oh yes, that's true.
We saw
But
Kiawe's, yes.
I like to forget that episode doesn't exist.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I do hope that they go to kind of fix that sort of issue. Instead of trying to do all like 5 companions in one episode, they go more in depth of each one. That would be a much better way of handling it. Or really,
They will probably do Kiawe because Kiawe clones.
We do know. Well, we only know that they look similar to him a little bit. We don't know how much.
Sorry about
yeah,
cutting.
We
There are Kiawe.
we have Kiawe at home.
yeah.
The Kiawe at home.
Oh boy. Yeah.
It would be fun
Kiawe
if they were like inspired by him in
very
some way.
close.
Yeah, it said that they were inspired. Not inspired by Kiawe. They were inspired by Ash.
Yeah.
In the summary and
I
stuff.
am excited.
Yeah,
I
those
am
two.
excited to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two brothers, the Z
Hmm.
brothers or whatever.
Can't they be
call
also
themselves.
inspired by Kiawe?
True, they could be. Yeah.
I mean, he put in a.
That will explain their hair at least.
Mhm.
I mean, Kiawe put in a legitimately good showing during the Alola League.
Yeah, he was one of the few trainers that actually was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that Kiawe, along with Guzma and Gladian, were probably the only. I think they could probably get to like the round of 16 or like the quarterfinals in like a regular league. I think they were pretty skilled.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
I
just
do
a
think
shame that it's
yeah.
just a shame that Kiawe and Ash never fought because it felt like they were
Yeah.
building that up from the beginning.
Yeah, that was something that I think that's one of the bigger problems I had with Sun Moon. Although I think it
I
did
do
also
think
do
the
some things
problem
good.
is
Well,
I do think the problem again with the Ash against Kiawe thing is that we only saw as a fraction of a battle that wasn't particularly developed in the penultimate episode. So it feels like we never got a proper final showdown between them, in spite of a lot of rivalry coding, which is a bit of a shame. Especially because Journeys tried to make a big deal of them being rivals. So, of course, it makes one wonder, okay, where was the payoff to that? Actually, one of my wishes was for Kiawe to be in the World Coronation series, so Ash and Kiawe could have a major battle to themselves, but it went the complete opposite direction in the end.
Actually, if Kiawe had been a part of the World Coronation series, that might have been a really interesting way to develop his character further. Because in Sun and Moon, we saw he was the most spiritual of the gang. He was the one who was most devoted to the idea of Alola and the Z moves. So him going out into the wider world and experiencing more battles, that could have been a really interesting way to develop him further.
I agree with everything that you guys just said. Just for the record, yeah, it would have been really interesting to have Kiawe, but it really does seem like that's not possible anymore, unfortunately.
yeah.
And
Yeah, just an idea of what could have been.
yeah, we still have a lot of Volkner to talk about because
Yeah. This
Wait,
battle will be interesting, I think.
is there any chance that Kiawe might catch up to Ash?
It's possible. I don't know. The
Like
thing is,
Ash doesn't rush it, right?
I
He
mean,
takes it
yeah, he's
slow,
in the hyper class now, so I
but
don't know.
he takes it a
Like,
bit slow, in
yeah,
my opinion.
Kiawe. I mean, doesn't Kiawe
If
like
Kiawe rushes,
yeah.
tries to climb as fast as he can, there's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance he
In
could
my opinion.
maybe reach Ash and get to the hyperclass, but also like doesn't Kiawe like have a job or something like delivering stuff?
right.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
It's only part of the family business, so technically it's not something that completely requires him.
Yeah. So he would have to go out because I don't think there are probably many trainers, if any, in the Alola region who are competing in the World Championship Series. So he would have to go out to like a larger region and start battling, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he could. He probably could get to the hyperclass. I think he could maybe Like,
He's skilled enough.
yeah, he's skilled enough, so I think he could.
Plus, that Charizard of his is like an old veteran he inherited from his grandfather.
Yeah.
Wait, does Kiawe even know about World Coronation
That's right.
series?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Maybe
Did Ash not mention it in the Alola episode?
Alola isn't aware of it.
I don't remember him mentioning it.
Maybe Kiawe learns about it
I mean,
in the
like,
Well,
Alola
they
episode.
have.
Ash did say that. I think Ash has been in contact with them like over time, right? Since he left
Okay.
Alola, because he told them about Go, right? Before he even went there.
I think so.
Maybe he forgot to mention about the series.
I feel like he would. I feel like that would be the first thing Ash would mention. Would be like what kind of
Oh, yeah,
battling
of
he's
course.
doing. If we're talking
Yeah.
about like what Ash would do, I feel like that would be like he would say, "Oh, I know someone named Go, but dude, let me tell you about like I battled Karina and all these different people, dude." You know,
Yep.
he would come
Yeah,
out.
he would talk about. But what if by chance he forgot that there is a world tournament?
Well, I mean, they might hear about it over like the news or whatever. I don't know. Like,
Maybe.
Pretty advertised. From what I
yeah,
can
it
see.
is. But I
It is-
have no idea. Maybe he doesn't know.
If he doesn't know, then if he learns, he might try to catch up to Ash. Like he does see him as a rival even now.
Yeah,
He will reject being left behind.
yeah. Hmm.
I would like some individual focus on the Alola gang if we had to return them, which I'm not positive on, but just as
Lily has a chance to return.
I think
His
Lily is
her
the
arc
main
is
one who should return because I feel like she's the only one out of the Alola gang who
her
actually has
arc
like
isn't finished yet.
Yeah, her arc is not done yet, so I think she's like pretty much a guarantee to get her own focus episode, along with Gladian, of course. But yeah, I think really, and if anyone were to be in the Pokemon Championship series, it would be Ladian because he's traveling like around the world, right? He's going around
Right?
looking for
Yeah.
Lemon, so he would be the one who would, I think, the person from Alola who would be competing. But
Yeah.
That
I
makes sense. I could see Gladion competing.
wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily be happy about that, but that's a discussion for
sure.
another time.
Yeah.
mhm.
So before we began discussing Sun and Moon, we were discussing how Volcaner was connected to the Alola episode,
Yes.
or had we moved on from that?
I mean, I kind of described it, but essentially, the hyper class battles, apparently are not random matchups like they've been in the
Right.
past. You can kind of see that
Okay.
evidenced by how, I mean, it was kind of leaked, but also you can see evidence by how in the screenshots you can see that Ash and Volkner are battling in like a crowded stadium.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
it looks
so,
like the
Exciting.
battles are going to be a bit more televised now.
yeah, they're going to be like published battles, like the masterclass battles are.
Like after all, it's the 100th strongest trainer around the whole world.
Yeah, well, the ones who are
Yeah.
competing at least. There are probably a lot of strong trainers who, like
Yeah,
for example, Tsurugi is probably upper hyper class tier, but he's not competing because he doesn't care.
and Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias too. So like, yeah, there are a lot of there's probably
If we count them in,
hundreds of trainers like them in the world who are very strong.
yeah, but
Who just don't want to. Who don't care.
Yeah.
if we count them in, Ash is at least in the first 1,000 trainer.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the strongest
absolutely.
trainers.
Yeah,
Like if you're talking about
In the
competitively
verse.
battling trainers, yeah, he's one of the top 100. That's what the ranking means. So yeah,
like Ash in the
extremely
Diamond Pro series, he didn't even know about this coronation series.
I don't think it existed back then.
Right.
Maybe.
Maybe
It is.
it's become because it seems like it's a sort of third party thing. Aside
Well,
from
I
like
mean-
the official Pokemon leagues and
Yeah,
the-
that
Yeah,
would make
it's not something part of the specific league we have seen so far. We can see it
Yeah.
for the fact that Leon has both his Galar champion role, and as we saw, also
Pokemon World Champion.
the whatever you want to call it, because world champion is technically correct, but make it seem like it's some sort of super champion above the regional champions, which it isn't. But at the same time, it sounds better than the world monarch, which
Yeah,
is a
World
problem of the
Monarch
fact.
seems like that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
I think it's just a
we want
translation
Ash
thing.
to be the god emperor of
Champion
mankind.
sounds better.
So yeah, so it does seem like some sort of third party thing. So it might have been started recently, like not like maybe not super recently, but maybe I don't know.
Yeah, it
Saying
makes sense.
time, like designating time spans in the anime is not something I'm very good at, but I'd say
Yeah, what
maybe
do you mean? Time doesn't pass at all in Pokemon World.
exactly. Like it
It
passes, but it also
passes and
doesn't.
doesn't pass.
Yeah, it's weird. So
I don't like
yeah,
it.
maybe like
we
6
can
months
say
ago or
we can
something.
say there is just two times in the Pokemon world, which is before Ash turns 10 and the present. No middle ground.
Hmm Ash turned 10
I want
yesterday.
off this ride.
Yeah, Ash turned 10
And then
yesterday.
no, if the time stopped, they were like in the Gen 3 games when the battery of the clock runs out. It's like that basically.
Yeah.
Things happen, but doesn't happen. But time
Yeah.
passes,
So
doesn't pass.
So of course, Lei basically made clear that the show has no intention to make Ash age ever. Basically,
So,
Hmm
so it's confirmed that Kukui just adopted, right?
no.
Oh my god.
Remember, we know exactly what Lei
Uh,
is. We know what is.
It does
Yeah,
not make any
he's a
sense.
Grookey.
We're
Yeah,
stuck.
oh my
is
god.
the son. We know that there was a Grookey egg under.
Oh my god, dude.
We're
Can
not
someone
bringing this up again,
wait,
are we?
wait, let me
Because
post
it's
it.
iconic. It's
I
amazing.
probably have it.
That's not.
Yeah, I have it. Posting it right now.
Look, the magnet train took a year and it's there. It's nothing in this verse makes sense in terms of time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
basically, you don't try to question time. Also, because if we keep talking, I think we know what we will have next episode as a guest at this
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm very excited for the Volkner episode. I'm happy that Gengar and Lucario are finally getting some screen time, like battling.
Just
Like
I want to
for
see how
because
they start
Gengar.
that.
as a reminder, this is Lucario's very first Pokemon World Championships battle on screen.
God.
As a Lucario, of
As a
course. Let's
Lucario,
specify.
yes, as a Lucario. So like he has not battled I mean he hasn't battled period since episode 53, and he briefly showed up in I believe episode 65 and episode 70. But yeah, that's it.
By the way, that YouTube comment, the name can be that cheaper.
Oh my god.
I am serious.
Yeah, this is
Let's
this is
Do you
his
think?
first battle as a Lucario. Yes, his first official battle as a Lucario. Diamond.
Honestly, I think
That's absurd.
one possible issue is the fact that it depends a lot on how the Z movie is handled. Because if it goes for the predictable route, it then make Pikachu the MVP, which of course is a bit tricky because I think both Lucario and Gengar need a win. So,
Yeah.
well, how do we handle this well? Because we know at least one of them should lose to allow a bit of stakes on
Right.
Volkner's side. Otherwise, it becomes a curb stomp, and we don't want that.
Gengar's gonna job again.
No,
Poor
please,
Gengar.
Yeah,
Gengar needs to win.
I think it's like
Justice for
They're not
Gengar.
gonna let
Hashtag.
Lucario job on his first battle, so I
yeah.
think Gengar's
I
on the
mean, I
chopping
think
block again.
And I would
I
say
think it's very
Pikachu, but
likely
he's
that
using the Z move.
I
Honestly,
think it's very
I would
likely
say
that
it's weird how Lucario has been handled because
Yeah,
really,
because in the opening it implies that Lucario is Ash's ace, and yet he's literally never uses it ever.
yeah, you mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh! There is a similar situation that there was in Brains where they tried to pretend that Yuzaku's ace was Firewall Dragon, and never ever used it. So basically,
What
it's
he
banned.
used
something like that.
instead, Firewall Dragon's cool, but did he use? I think his rival was the one with the. I never watched really Vrains, but I think his rival was the one with the Borolo Dragon, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
had the gun, a lot of gun dragons, a lot of gun dragons.
Uh-huh.
Revolver is a giant meme.
Yeah, the all of those Link Borolo dragons that are like $50 a copy.
Yeah.
Dude, there's like 5 different like broken Borolo dragons, which are all like basically required extra Decamons. Anyway.
There is a way though to make I guess Gengar job in a way and still make him look good. Like we had the Viscous battle, which is the first battle, which is a great showing from Gengar, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, Pikachu
Still
was
one.
still the ace, right, of that battle, if you would
Mhm.
say.
Though
Sorry,
Gengar
I
was
So
still.
I think it's possible that, I mean, because it's a 3v3, so they could give Gengar a win before they have him lose and turn the tables to Pikachu and Lucario.
Yeah.
And I think Lucario has a pretty good shot at being the MVP because he's consistently shown to be strong ever since he evolved.
I think he'll go something like this. Gengar versus Rotom at the start. Or Lucario. No. It might be like Luxray Pikachu at the start, but then he recalls Pikachu, or he uses his Z move right away. I have no idea. Maybe he uses his Z move against Luxray right away. But I think he'll recall Pikachu, and then that makes no sense. Maybe it's better to just go Gengar Rotom, Gengar wins, and then Gengar Luxray. Luxray wins. Luxray, Lucario wins, and then I guess Luxray Electivire wins, and then Electivire Pikachu, and Pikachu Z moves the Motor Drive, and Pikachu maybe wins anyway. I have no idea. Like this battle can go a couple different ways. I really don't actually
I would
understand how they're
say
gonna do it.
And that's good.
if we assume
Unpredictable.
that they go for the motor drive idea, which will say will be the most interesting way to handle the Z move by not making it a decisive factor, because this way it managed to show that Ash isn't just his Z moves and doesn't need them to be a proper trainer, which I'd really like. But at the same time, I do think it will mean. I'm not sure. I'd say Pikachu could still tie against Electivire and then leave a clean slate for Lucario against Luxray.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I think
someone asked if like Fury asked, is Ash gonna win? Yeah, he's probably gonna win because if they just make him lose his first battle in the Hyperclass, it kind of negates the impact of his win against Iris.
that's
So
true.
so I think that he's going to win. He'll lose eventually. Yeah, I think he'll lose several Hyperclass battles, but but
And I
yeah.
do think it's
Also,
important that
it has been rumored that Volkner is in the top 30 of the Hyperclass.
Wow.
Like his rank is really high. Like it's not like Volkner is like rank 80 or something. He's like top 30.
I will
So
say that it's
yeah.
important to say this because it's important that Ash can't win narratively, because if he loses, he goes back in the
The super
super
class.
class. Yeah,
And then
so
he'll off
basically,
screen get back in the Hyperclass again. It wouldn't really make
yeah,
Ugh.
sense.
we don't want a repeat of that performance, because it's one of the poorest points of Journey's writing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't think we need.
I don't really know what their Volkner maybe has his own Z move. I don't think so. He's not wearing a Z ring. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
that's
Volkner
another
Zemo
issue.
is something that yeah, you have to get from Alola. And if I remember right, outsiders have a real low chance to get. Like, it's really rare for outsiders to get one.
Mhm.
Ash is one of the few.
I see.
I do agree that the I guess rank down in the classes was the lowest point of the series so far, like
Yeah.
a fire battle. But it does give them a chance to make that make sense and be and like actually redeem themselves in that department. But I do agree that it wouldn't make too sense to have Ash lose, but we'll see. I'm hoping
Yeah.
for the best.
Dude, because that's the thing. The only Pokemon we see Pikachu battling, I mean, I think it's implied that Pikachu battles Luxray at some point. Maybe those are the first Pokemon that are sent out. It's also implied that it's also shown that Pikachu directly battles Electivire. Seems like
Right.
Electivire was beating it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how it's actually going to. I think there's going to be a lot of substituting because I don't
Yeah.
think this
Uh,
is. I don't think this is a no substitute battle, showing that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Scarring
I
Knight.
don't.
We talked about no, not Scarring Knight. You're the Pikachu master. We did talk about that earlier. Yes, the Alola episode is actually confirmed to be tied, like plot wise, it's tied to the Volkner episode. It is. It's tied somehow, like plot wise, with Z Rings, and also the matchup, I believe, with Ash and Volkner is also done in that episode. It's a pretty. It's like it seems like a filler episode, but it'll actually. I think it's gonna be like a plot episode. Like, it seems like a
Yeah.
filler episode
I
off, like
won't
just
mind. I will say I would like if we had more episodes like this because it brings back a bit of relief from extreme episodicness, which was really the
yeah.
problem we
I really like
mentioned
this.
about.
I really like this
Yeah,
because
because
in a way, 75 and 76 are tied together too because it's like the summer vacation thing or whatever, right?
yeah, but well, in that case, in the Dawn arc, of course, we are talking of an actual arc where both episodes are directly connected, so it's a bit of a different case
Yeah.
in that sense. But I will say, however, that it's good because one of the issues we mentioned about the off-screen climb is that in the episode in between Bee's battle, there wasn't this sense that Ash was giving any care to his current rival. So we don't want something like that. We want something a bit more connected. Each episode can still stand alone, but feed something greater as it goes along. It's not that difficult to achieve, and I hope it's something the show managed to reach again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I am excited, however. Just these two episodes, it's definitely
Yeah.
good, especially coming after a two-parter. It's something exciting that keeps
I
them good.
honest, I sorry.
No, you're good. I was just
Oh,
finished.
okay. You were finished. Okay.
Yeah.
It's such a welcome surprise for me learning right now that the Alola episode and Volkner are connected plot wise. That like I'm a lot more excited to see both of them now because I can't wait to find out. It was very unexpected for me because on the surface they seem like they'd be two completely different plot lines.
Yeah.
But now I'm very excited to see how they tie together.
I would
Yeah.
say the safest bet is that the two kids that seem to use fake Z moves are what motivates the usage of the Z ring. But of
Right.
course, we will see if that's the case. That's the boring answer, basically. We will see if there is perhaps a bit more to that than just this simple idea. I do wonder, however, if they plan to have him keep the Z-Ring afterwards, because it's not something I'm quite sure about, I will say. Mostly because it doesn't feel like something they want to commit to long term, basically something just for this battle. We will see if that's the case.
It
Yeah, I'm
did
not
give us
quite
a
sure
great.
how they're gonna handle it.
Because I feel if it happens that the Z move backfires, it would explain why you wouldn't continue using it. But I don't know if they really plan to make it backfire. Right now, it's just wishful thinking that could lead to a coolash moment if handled well, but we can't tell right in this moment.
At least it gave us a really good fan art in the lemon coin fan art with all the
Yeah.
Dynamax bands. And
Lemon Coin is an amazing artist, and you all owe yourself to check it out.
Yep. But speaking of that, how do you guys feel if it were to make like a return or like the Shearing was here to stay? Um he would have basically the Dynamax the searing, and he would be able to use them in one battle. I guess they could have like restrictions, right, on like how many special moves I guess you could use. But it would be
I,
fun to see how they handle that, to say the least.
How what were the rules in during Generation 7? Could you use Mega Evolution and Z moves?
Yes.
nope.
The problem
You
is
can you
both those are
you
hollow
can't use
diamonds.
at the same time. For example, if you give a Z crystal to Rayquaza, it can't become a Mega Rayquaza, for example.
Okay.
Good to know.
But
Uh,
this isn't games, and
yeah.
it can happen. Also, Gigantamax Mega Pokemon using Z move.
I don't think you can do both. In the
I mean,
games, you could never do both.
in the anime, I am talking about the anime. If the Pokemon can take it, I think it would take a big toll on the Pokemon, even if they can do it. But think about it. Gigantamax Mega Gengar using Z move.
But I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that yet. Well, I guess we'll see how it
Yeah.
happens if it does.
I mean, it has a chance to happen. I
It
mean,
does have a chance.
maybe.
Yes.
I mean, we had Pokemon using 10 moves in a battle at once.
Yeah,
Once
but
Oh,
upon a time.
that was
Drake's
Once upon a
Dragonite
time.
is
originals.
infamous.
It was a long time ago, but yeah. Ace Snorlax and Drake's Dragonite.
There was a lot of stuff in OS that probably wouldn't be recreated in recent series.
Yeah. Like Extra.
Oh, right. I mean, we did have Butterfree Ash, so that's kind of a little bit of a, you know.
Beautifly Ash. Beautifly Ash.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
that was good.
Beautiful Ash.
Thunder Armor.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I think we've kind of covered everything.
I think so.
Yeah, so yeah, I think so. Next week we're getting back to regular episodes. It seems that I think this is gonna be like the last break for a while. We've had a lot of breaks over the past couple of months, which is kind of a shame
Yeah.
because imagine how crazy it would have been if all of these episodes were airing like right after another every week. Like you go from Iris to Gary to Sarugi to Dawn to Volkner, like in the span of
Right.
2 months. Like that would have been crazy. But yeah, I think this will be the last major break. This break was due to the Olympics. There was a concern about uh episode 78 being delayed due to the Paralympics, but that's no longer the case. Episode 78 will
Okay.
be about Giselle. And yeah, I'm really excited to see this Giselle episode. Hopefully he doesn't evolve. I want to see just like one episode of development as a Drizzle so we can kind of see like what he's been up
Yeah,
to.
I'm really looking forward to the Drizzle episode because I
Especially because the
really
first one was
enjoyed.
so good.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
And
really
not
interesting. It really caters to Go's best traits as a character. So I really want to hope this next episode still keeps Drizzle a Drizzle and makes him more comfortable with himself, which was one of the main reasons I go went. It's okay, you can take your time. Which really, it's a good lesson for kids, which I really appreciate.
Yeah,
not to mention the fact Oh, sorry. Yeah,
No,
not to
go ahead.
mention the fact that when a Pokemon fully evolves, the current trend in journeys is that they're immediately put on a bus and their screen time gets cut.
Yeah.
Hate it.
So I really would like to see more of Drizzile before that inevitably happens to him, and
Yeah, and then
we
yeah,
get more Grookey
Grookey.
focused.
It's Grookey time. Hey, Grookey gang, it's our time, dude. So
We've
yeah,
been in groupie time for a long time now.
yeah, I
What if
know.
this quirky was that what was that kid's name?
Hmm?
The Alola kid.
Which one?
Tokyo?
Whoa.
The Grookey kid.
Oh,
What if they are siblings?
Lay?
They are
Oh,
siblings.
Jesus.
Kukui's kid?
Yes.
You meant Kukui's
No.
kid, yeah.
Let's not bring this up
Ghost
again, please.
Grookey is Cookie
It's
is kid's
gonna remain iconic.
brother.
Sorry. I created a monster by bringing up that thing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing is that we've seen a lot of merch of Rillaboom. I believe that's Grookey's final evolution. But we've seen
Yeah.
no
Yes.
merch of Thwackey, which makes me think that the Rillaboom that's been shown in merch constantly, along with merch of other upcoming mons like Darkrai and Cresselia already happened, and Garchomp and all these other Pokemon. So it's very well implied that this is a anime merch set of Pokemon appearing in the anime. And there's a bunch of Rillaboom merch, but so it implies that it's not his Rillaboom, it's someone else's. So I think
Yeah, that seems likely.
it might be Hops, but I don't know. That's like my first thought is it's Hops.
plot
Rillaboom.
twist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
It'll
like
be
to
interesting to
see
Grookey.
see him.
I would like to see Hop debut because it's not like Hop doesn't exist, right? Like he is like Leon
Oh, I
does.
do hope it's handled better
See that.
than it happened in Sun and Moon.
You mean regarding How? Or however you pronounce his name?
You've cut off, Vero.
Yeah,
We can't
you
hear
cut
you.
off.
We'll give him some time, but let's
Yeah.
see.
I
Because
mean, if Hop is coming back, it would be pretty hard to do him worse than How was done. Because
Yeah.
How was done so dirty.
How was done pretty dirty. So I think uh he'll
here's a
probably come
plot
back as a
twist.
Project Mew member, not World Championship, I don't think.
Here's a plot twist for Grookey. He evolves directly into Rillaboom.
Just skips Thwackey.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Just move on.
Yeah.
The middle evolution is
he was
way
he was
less
genetically
cool for
he
Grookey.
was genetically engineered by Team Rocket to evolve directly into Rillaboom.
That makes sense.
The middle evolution isn't cool enough for Grookey. He
I-
needs cooler.
Yeah, we
back.
can hear you
Apologies,
now.
I had some problems.
Oh.
Next time, I will make sure to not cause as many issues. Even if it involves a lot of white noise, it will be better. I apologize for how it has gone this time. Not my
I mean,
intention.
it honestly isn't that bad. It's only happened once or twice. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's way better for that to happen than to have a lot of static throughout the whole recording.
Yeah, I realized the point. Basically, where did I cut off?
You were about to discuss. We were gonna give your take on Hop coming into the anime. I think.
Basically, what I was saying is that I not dislike it, but at the same time, I feel like we have bad precedents of game rivals arriving too late after the role was taken. It has happened at various times in the series, but I think in particular, How is a bad case of it because he appeared very late and had only a minor role that it's controversial to say the least, depending on if you like it, what it contributed to or not. But at the same time, I hope it's handled better. My real big issue will be what will the Hop do because a lot of his later arc to become an assistant to Sonya happened already through Go during the
Right.
I mean,
That's
they
true.
could
arc.
still have that happen, but I think he's going to be doing Project Mew. That's what I think. He should be a Project Mew contender. Also, someone did bring up a good idea of not even someone actually. The character designer for Journeys had an interview. I was gonna put this on Twitter, but I didn't. I just never had time to post the translation of it. So I think his name is Shuhei Yasuda or something like that. The character designer for Journeys said that he wanted Tokyo to reappear in the anime.
I
So
really would like to see
I don't know if that
Tokyo
means
again.
anything, but he might be a contender in Project Mew as well.
I will say it's possible, but at the same time, I think it's important that you mentioned that they have space for 5 chasers in Project Mu, of which we know already Asahi and Tsurugi. So, considering we know for sure Gary will be one of them, that leaves one empty spot
Yeah,
to
and
fill.
that's the thing though, is that there's a bunch of applicants. Like, there's 5 slots. Doesn't mean there's only 5 applicants. Like, there's gonna be more. Like, there's gonna be people who don't make the cut, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I do want to see how Project Mu stacks up because really, I think it's a splendid idea for to make Ghost Goal feel closer to other character
Yeah,
goals of
it
the
gives a lot of
past.
structure to it,
Yeah,
and
which is a bit of
also,
a problem because he had a lot of good episodes, but of course they were really a lot of one and done things. Like for example, I really like what the Floette episode did for him, but at the same time, it was one instance of it.
yeah,
It's not something that fits in something later. That's the
hmm
thing.
yeah. So I agree. I also like that it's so unique. Like, it's like they've never done. I don't think they've ever done anything like that regarding a character's goal. Really, right?
I do like something that's been pointed out that basically it's similar to the field research of Pokemon Go, while at the same time it fits since the World Coronation series seems based on how the Battle Tower and Sword and Shields Online is shaped up. So basically, it's something that's built on the framework of game activity, but in a different way, which I think is a good idea as a basis.
I
Hmm.
agree.
All right. Well, uh I think we're just about 2 hours in, so I think this is a good stopping point.
All right.
So,
Okay.
I will
yeah, we
say
talked
though
about,
that we could try to.
yeah, we did talk about a lot of stuff today, and yeah, I think this was a good. We did review Diamond Pearl a lot, and I'm happy that they are really not just leaning into the Pokemon that are available, but seemingly the plot of Diamond and Pearl 2, bringing back and mentioning like Ash's battling in the Sinnoh League with Paul and Dawn,
Yeah.
of course. And I think they are going to be bringing back Cynthia pretty soon for a battle against Leon, so that's going to be controversial to say the
Yeah.
least. To say
Yeah.
the least, like this is going to be like,
In,
oh boy, I
I
don't know
want
what's
I
going to
want
happen,
I
Tobias
but
think
return. I want a Tobias
I do
return.
think in particular the problem in that case will be that people will want Cynthia to win because she's more popular, but at the same
yeah,
time
basically.
And
we
with
know
and
that
with good reason.
we know that Leon can lose until perhaps Ash defeats him because being the invincible champion is basically one of
Yeah,
his major roles as a roadblock.
basically the
So
writing's on
basically,
the wall, and people are, you know,
yeah,
people aren't gonna be
I
the,
happy
think
about it.
yeah,
I
Leon
think the
can
mo-
lose until Ash defeats him. Basically,
Yeah,
I think the most we can hope for is that Cynthia just puts in a really good showing before ultimately losing.
yeah. Oh man, Cynthia losing. Oh boy. All right.
Yeah, I don't like
it'd
it
be
any
the
more than
first
you do.
loss Cynthia gets on screen too.
Yeah. So, all right.
Damn it.
So I think we're gonna call it here. Thanks to everyone, all of our speakers who came today, and also the people who came to listen in the Discord call.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It was a lot of fun today. We
Yep.
covered a variety of topics.
I can't wait for next
It's
week's
been
when
a
we
great
Yeah.
time.
Next week,
ca-
next Saturday, so a week from now, we'll have a new episode to discuss. Also, we also have the subs for movie 23 are being released today, I believe, by some
Awesome.
source.
Ooh.
So
That'll be
I
cool.
we
think
Really?
can also discuss
it's
that
Nice.
gonna be a
movie
very
next week as
interesting.
well. We can talk about that too for a short amount of time. So yeah.
And if I may, I think I do have the perfect outro for this episode after we spoke about Diamond and Pearl, if I may.
Okay. All right, go for it.
You guys hear that?
No.
No.
No,
Oh,
we don't
okay,
hear it.
never mind. I just played the Bidoof
Oh
announcement
no.
thing.
No, 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 no.
Also,
Okay.
last word.
All right, I'm gonna stop
Unpopular
the
opinion. Unpopular opinion. I want
All right.
Tobias return. I want Tobias return. Unpopular opinion.
You want Tobias to return?
Yes.
I actually wanted him
We're-
to return too, but I don't think that's gonna happen now because they've shown Darkrai and everything.
We
Like,
already
he could
have him.
come
Nah.
back for the Darkrai shilling, but
They haven't showed nothing.
He just has another legendary
Us.
with him.
yeah,
Probably.
they can just show him have Regigigas instead, you know. Get a big Regigigas shilling. All right, I'm gonna stop the
Remember,
recording.
Okay.
So
Alright,
thanks
see you guys.
also thanks to
All
anyone
right.
who's watching this on YouTube. This will be uploaded later today. So yeah. All right. See you guys.
Goodbye.
Day.
goodbye.